So what is the WWE Raw roster going to look like come January when they debut on Netflix? Let's talk about it. I'm the Wrestling Old Head. Another hot one here for you today. We're talking about the WWE roster and what it's going to look like when Netflix comes rolling around and they debut in January. WWE in 2025 is going to look totally different. That's just the truth of it all. They are not going to look the same. The face of the WWE is set to completely have a facelift, face off.
To take his face off,
if you will. And when that happens, what's the roster going to look like? Now, I've said for a couple of videos where I talk about WWE going into pure cinema mode and everything like that, the hot phrase that's been thrown around for WWE, but it's true. The way that they film things, the way that it's looking, it all seems to be adding up to a preview of what Netflix is going to be for the WWE, or what WWE is going to be for Netflix going into the new year. So with that being said, what pieces do you need from WWE to formulate this idea of Raw looking completely different from SmackDown and also looking completely different from every other Raw that has been around since its inception in 1993? So we're going to talk about that. One of the things that I would like to see in this shakeup is maybe not have a full-on brand split until we get to after WrestleMania and have the draft. So you'll start to see superstar shakeups going into the Royal Rumble. I mean, you're already kind of seeing a preview of that now going into Survivor Series, where you're seeing guys like Jey Uso show up on Raw. You're seeing Solo Sikoa show up on Raw. You're seeing Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, and they were using Crown Jewel to do that. I think they can continue doing that. I mean, they've been really honest about that. I mean, they've had Adam Pearce say, "Oh, I've given this guy a pass." Solo Sikoa showed up with a ticket. You know, they're Sami Zayn showing up on SmackDown. You know, like to talk to the OG Bloodline to get that formulated. I like how they're doing that. They're giving us a reason why they're doing this stuff, and I like that. But they can keep going into the new year with that. I think it would be interesting because at any given moment you can see somebody from SmackDown, somebody from Raw show up and give us a little bit of a preview about who belongs where. But my job right now is to tell you who actually belongs in the WWE Raw, specifically roster going into Netflix. Number one, gotta do the final boss, The Rock. Ever since I found out that the WWE was going to be on Netflix, the first guy I thought about, no shit, was The Rock, the final boss. That is the guy that is built for Netflix, and he gave us a small preview of what WWE on Netflix is going to be like by coming out and cursing and talking a bunch of mess and beating people up backstage and his entrance, the way that he comes out to the ring. I mean, it all screams Netflix, right? They're literally taking the shackles off when they go to Netflix. You guys do realize that, right? Everything from the WWE and their presentation on cable and primetime television is going to be gone, completely gone. They're going to be uncensored. And when they're uncensored, they don't have to adhere to the same parameters that they had on cable or network television, right? So the same way that they have sponsors, you know, they can do whatever they want. They can have blood, they can curse, they can have nudity, they can do whatever they want when they go on Netflix. It is going to be off the cuff. It's going to be insane. And I know that the WWE isn't in the business of exploiting that in any way. I mean, in their previous regime, I could tell you guaranteed that they were going to do something like that from the first night. But with this new regime right now at the helm, Zlee, pun intended there, I think that they're going to make sure that they build to those moments and they make them special. So I don't think you're just going to see lewd acts, crude language, excessive violence out of nowhere from the very first episode. I mean, you might, but I think that they're better suited to build to those moments, to make them more impactful, to really make them go viral, and I think they're in the business of doing that. So by having Netflix by being on that streaming service for the first time ever, they're going to want to make an impact. I think The Rock's definitely going to be a part of the first episode. I definitely think he should be a part of the brand as a whole. Another one is, don't call it a comeback. John Cena should be a part of the brand in WWE Raw. These are the guys right here. They're actors. They transcend professional wrestling. If you want eyes on the product, if you want people to buy into Netflix exclusively, then you want them to see the superstars that transcend the sport of professional wrestling. And those guys that do it are The Rock and John Cena. So they've got to be a part of Netflix. You want people to go like, damn, I got to subscribe to Netflix to see John Cena's retirement. What's he going to do every Monday on WWE Raw? I got to be able to see that. The same with The Rock. He's the final boss. We got to see The Rock. Those are the two staples of WWE Raw. They have to be seen on Netflix. Now, these guys after this that I'm going to talk about, I might be stretching it a little bit. I might be tipping the scale there and making it a little uneven as far as superstars on Raw versus superstars on SmackDown, but I'm going to try to be fair here. Another guy that needs to be on WWE Raw is Cody Rhodes. How they do that is going to be interesting because he is the champion of SmackDown's brand. But I think they need to have a trade. I think Gunther needs to go over to SmackDown, and I think Cody Rhodes needs to go over to Raw. Now, hear me out on this, okay? Because Cody Rhodes is the man. He is the guy that is selling out shows left and right. He needs to be a brand ambassador for Raw on Netflix. The guy is already a brand ambassador for the WWE. If you knew that you were going to watch a show with Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and The Rock, and it's on Netflix, you would be more incentivized to do it, knowing that you're going to get that trifecta right there. And SmackDown, on the other hand, SmackDown can be where the legitimate future is going to be. That's guys like Gunther, guys like Braun Breaker, guys like Bronson Reed, guys like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, maybe Randy Orton. Those are the guys that need to be on SmackDown. For Raw, you need the more star-studded, you need to fill them up, like the Wyatt Six. They need to be there. Karrion Kross in the Final Testament, they need to stay on Raw. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Damian Priest, LA Knight. I actually think LA Knight should go to WWE Raw because I think his aura fits more with the product on Raw than it would on SmackDown. And then on SmackDown, you have guys like Andrade. You have Legado del Fantasma, the LWO. You have Nia Jax and Tiff Stratton and Gunther and Braun Breaker and those type of guys. They can be on the SmackDown side. And as far as the OG Bloodline and the Rogue Bloodline go, keep them on SmackDown, man. And I think with guys like The Rock, you can have The Rock kind of be on both brands. He is the final boss. He can do whatever he wants. So if you're leading up to WrestleMania and you're trying to get more of the focus, then you can have The Rock on SmackDown and have The Rock on Raw. The thing with having the OG Bloodline and the Rogue Bloodline remain on SmackDown instead of going to WWE Raw, I was vacillating between whether or not I should go with Roman and the Bloodline on Raw, because a part of me believes that their cinematic nature of the way that this whole storyline has been going for 4+ years, it deserves to have a culmination on Netflix. But watching the way that they've been building to this War Games scenario, I personally feel that we're going to see the end of the chapter of the civil war between the Bloodline, and they're going to disperse and go in different directions. I believe we're going to see a fallout between Solo and Jacob. I believe Solo is going to throw the Ulafala to The Rock, and I think that's going to usher in the Roman Reigns Rock feud that we're looking forward to for WrestleMania. Cody's going to be involved in that somehow as well. I think the OG Bloodline getting back together is probably going to be a one-night thing. I think Jey Uso is going to get that seal of approval that you did it. and I'm proud of you from Roman Reigns for real. They're going to hug it out, and then Jay's going to go his own way, maybe have a couple of tag matches with Jimmy Uso. Sami Zayn is going to go his own way, and Roman's going to go his own way. I think they're forming Voltron. They're getting the Avengers together for this one War Games match, and then I think they're gonna split up and go their own ways. And I think that the Rogue Bloodline is going to split and go their own ways in some form or another as well. And knowing that they've signed Lance Anoa'i, I think they signed Zilla Fatu, Hikuleu, and I'm sure Journey Fatu's on the way too, going into NXT. I think those guys will be the future, and maybe they'll have some more Bloodline stuff with that they can rekindle or bring back somehow, maybe with Jacob Fatu. Put your prayer hands together and headbang for my tribal G, Jacob Fatu. You also have the tribal cheeks, Rikishi, hovering around all of this as well. So you never know what's going to happen with the Bloodline. But for now, I feel like because I'm trying to balance the pendulum here for the brands, I think SmackDown should have the Bloodline situations and Raw should have Cody, John Cena, and The Rock. And I think that'll do it. I think that's the perfect scenario for WWE going into 2025, is to split the rosters up like that. So you go to SmackDown for Roman, you go to Raw for Cody, and you can split those two top guys up, and you don't have them under one roof, which you can only do that for so long before Roman's like, I'm trying to take that belt from you. And you already know what I think about Cody Rhodes. I've done an extensive video about it. I've sent letters out to Conan and Disco about this on the K100 podcast that you can see on Spotify and on YouTube at K100 podcast. I've sent several letters where they said, dude, you're overthinking this Cody Rhodes thing like you wouldn't believe. And they're absolutely right. But I feel like Cody Rhodes is a heel. And we're going to see that come out, whether it is that he comes out and confronts John Cena, or there's a new American Dream that comes out and starts to get into prominence that reminds fans of Dusty Rhodes, and it boils the blood of Cody Rhodes. But I really, and I really hope that we see a Randy Orton heel turn as well in 2025. But I think I'm going to do a whole little video about what I expect in 2025, like my predictions for wrestling in 2025, what I think is going to happen. For now, though, I think the Netflix roster will look good with those little setups. I mean, I'll do a full split if you guys want me to, where I can name the roster from beginning to the end on Raw and beginning to the end on SmackDown. I can do that if you want. But just for now, I think you'll see guys like LA Knight, like Rock, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Wyatt Six and Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest and all those guys. I think they'll be on Raw. And then on SmackDown side, you'll see Andrade, LWO, you'll see Braun Breaker, you'll see Bronson Reed, you'll see Sami Zayn, you'll see the New Day, you'll see the Bloodline, you'll see those guys on that side. That's how I look at it. You guys let me know what you think. Is the WWE shakeup leading to a roster split before the draft? Because Royal Rumble is not going to be until February. I think WrestleMania is not going to be until May. Guys, we're looking at a completely different schedule for the WWE than we're used to. This is going to be a complete facelift, so I'm all for it. You guys let me know what you think. Where's that roster going to be at in 2025? Thumbs up on the way out. Keeps the old head going out to as much people as I possibly can. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for more.